Hi there. Welcome to this lesson on Pure Mathematics 1. We're on Chapter 3, Simultaneous Equations, and we're on the second lesson, which looks at how you solve simultaneous equations using substitution. Substitution is the most important method for solving simultaneous equations, and if you do higher maths, substitution is almost certainly the method that you will have to use when you solve more complicated simultaneous equations. We'll have a look at an example together, and then I'll give you 3 questions to have a go at yourself. But first of all, we'll have a look at this. We've got 2 equations, 2x plus y is 4, and 3x minus 2y is equal to 13. And the way that substitution works is that from one of the equations, we either find y in terms of x, that means we get y on its own, or we find x in terms of y, we get x on its own. You can use either equation, and you can either get y on its own or get x on its own. The choice is up to you. But normally, one of the things will be easier than the other. In this case, equation A is by far the easiest one to work from. So we'll work from 2x plus y equals 4, and we'll get y on its own. It's easy to get y on its own. We'll move the 2x to the other side and get y equals 4 minus 2x. So we've made y the subject of the equation, and we've written y in terms of x. The second step, once you've done that, is to substitute the expression that you found into the other equation. So we'll go to equation B, 3x minus 2y equals 13. And instead of writing y, we'll substitute in 4 minus 2x instead of y. That gives us 3x minus 2, and then in brackets, we've got 4 minus 2x, because that's the same as y, equals 13. That's the hard part. From then on, it's straightforward algebra. You multiply out the brackets and get 3x minus 8 plus 4x equals 13. Tidying that up gives us 7x equals 21, and dividing by the 7 gives us x equals 3. We found x. We still need to find y. The way you find y is by choosing any of the equations and substituting x equals 3 into it. Now, I've left this equation here that we worked out ourselves in purple because that is always the easiest equation to use. So you can use any of them, but this equation tells us how to find y. It says y is equal to 4 minus 2x. So I substitute x into the easiest equation, which is y equals 4 minus 2x. X is 3, so I'll get 4 minus 6, and 4 minus 6 gives me y equals minus 2. That's the question done. The solution would be x equals 3 and y equals minus 2. Okay, 3 questions for you to have a go at yourself. I've told you how I'll be doing them, so if you want to check your answer against mine, in the first question, I find x in terms of y using equation A. In the second question, I find y in terms of x, again using A. And in the third one, I find y in terms of x, and again, that's from equation A. Have a go yourself, pause the video, and come back when you're ready. Okay, we'll have a look at these together. So the first question is that, and I've said I'm going to use equation A to find x in terms of y. Well, that is easily done. I just need to move the minus 2y to the other side, and I'll get x equals 4 plus 2y. Once I've found x, I can then substitute x into the other equation. So I'll substitute that expression into 5x minus 3y is minus 1. Instead of writing x, I'll write 4 plus 2y. And that gives me 5 into 4 plus 2y, take away 3y, is equal to minus 1. That's the tricky bit. Then you multiply out the brackets. 20 plus 10y minus 3y is minus 1. Tidying that up gives me 7y is equal to minus 21. Dividing by 7 gives me y equals minus 3. Once you found y, you still need to find x. The easiest way to do that is using the equation that you created when you made x the subject of the equation, getting x on its own. So we'll go back to this equation here, x equals 4 plus 2y, and I'll substitute y equals minus 3 into that. That gives me x equals 4, 2 times minus 3 is minus 6, so 4 minus 6. That means x is minus 2. That means the question is done. So the answer to the question would be x is equal to minus 2 and y is equal to minus 3. These two numbers are back to front here. The second question, 2x minus y is 13 and 3x plus 4y equals 3. Now I'm going to find y in terms of x using equation A. Again, that's easy to do because I've just got one y in equation A. So 2x minus 13 equals y. Moving the y over to the right-hand side and moving the 13 over to this side, and then just writing that the other way around to make it look normal. Y equals 2x minus 13. So that's the first step. I've used equation A to make y the subject. Y is 2x minus 13. We then substitute that expression into the other equation, into B. So instead of writing down y, I'm going to write 2x minus 13. That gives me 3x plus 4, and then here's where I've done the substitution. 4 times 2x minus 13 is equal to 3. That's the tricky bit. Multiply out the brackets. That gives you 3x plus 8x minus 52 is equal to 3. Tidying that up gives me 11x equals 55, and dividing by 11 gives me x equals 5. Once I've found x, I need to find y. The easiest way to do that is using the equation that I created when I made y the subject. Y is 2x minus 13. So I'll substitute 5 into that. And I'll get 2 times 5, which is 10, take away 13. 10 take away 13 is minus 3. That's the end of the question. And that means that the answer is x equals 5 and y equals minus 3. Okay, the third question. It's quite a lot more difficult because we don't have 1x or 1y in either equation. Now, what I will choose to do is find y in terms of x using the first equation. But there are many ways that you could do this. So going back to equation A, I'll get the 5y on its own, first of all, moving the 2x to the other side. So 5y is 3 minus 2x. And then I'm going to have to divide by 5. So that'll give me y equals 3 minus 2x, all divided by 5. And that's what makes this question a bit more tricky. You've got an algebraic fraction that you're going to have to substitute in for y in the other equation. So we go to the other equation, equation B, and instead of writing y, we're going to write 3 minus 2x divided by 5. That gives us this. So 3x minus 4, and I've substituted the expression in for y. 3 minus 2x over 5. Now, there are many ways forwards from here. The way I've chosen to move forward is by multiplying everything in the equation by 5. That's frequently a nice way of doing things. The problem with this is the fraction. The problem is the 5 on the bottom of the fraction. The easiest way to deal with it is to multiply everything by 5. So I'll multiply 3x by 5. That'll give me 15x. When I multiply this big term here by 5, then the 5 cancels with the 5 on the bottom. That's why I've done it. So there's the 5 on the top, the 5 on the bottom, they cancel with each other. That'll just leave me with 4 times 3, which is where the minus 12 comes from, and minus 4 times minus 2x. Be careful with the minus there. Minus 4 times minus 2x gives me plus 8x. I also need to times the 16 by 5. 5 16s are 80. Now, I think you can see that that has immediately made it so much simpler. So multiplying everything by 5 gets rid of the fraction, gets the 5 off the bottom, and leaves you with something which is a very straightforward equation. Adding the x's together gives me 23x, 80 add the 12 gives me 92, and then dividing by 23 gives me exactly 4 for x. Once I've found x, I substitute that value back into the equation that I worked out, y equals 3 minus 2x divided by 5. So substituting 4 into that equation will give me y equals 3 minus 8 divided by 5, because x is 4. 3 minus 8 is minus 5, so I'll have minus 5 divided by 5. Minus 5 divided by 5 is minus 1. And that is the answer. So the answer to this question would be x equals 4 and y equals minus 1. Now that gets us to the end of the lesson. If you have the textbook, then turn to page 38, go to exercise 3A, and have a go at questions 2 to 5. Thank you very much for listening, and cheerio.